så svårt att se. Jag skrev till Hammarby för den satt precis med disciplinen det verktygen. Istället för som nu la jag 2-3 timmar kolla igenom. Hej, AI, scanna igenom alla de här starka så fick jag eller ja, in precis då exakt nya kropp på toppen.
Hey guys, Morten Nostalg here. Welcome to my channel. Back in Oslo, and as you probably saw in my last couple of Stockholm videos, I actually recorded this part here in Oslo. It was a lovely trip to Stockholm, and I got some good videos out of it, and I went to a lot of record shops, I went to museums, I had, okay food, I guess. I didn't bring a lot of food to make at the flat I was staying, because I kind of didn't want to make a mess, and also the flat has a gas stove, and as a Norwegian and as a person when I'm Danish, I'm from Jutland, and we don't have gas stoves. They have in Copenhagen, but so I don't like turning on gas. That's a thing I try to stay away from. So I promised you guys that I would do a Stockholm haul when I got back, show all the records I got in one go. So I probably should stop waffling on about various things. So I hadn't even opened some of these records because I had to have them in my backpack and everything, and I thought that would be for the best. So of course I arrived on the Wednesday and went to the flat and put my luggage away, and I was already almost 2 hours late at this stage, because the train was fairly significantly late from various reasons. But I did decide that no, let's let this go down to the center of town and check out a record shop and do some a little bit of a grocery purchase, which I did. So I went for the record shop that I guess I'm most familiar with, because I go to their sister shop in Gothenburg a lot, and which is Bengans. And I did go there and ask for a couple of specific things, from anything from Swedish contemporary pop to actually some heavy metal. And while they did have some records from said artists, well, not said actually, but genres and so on, they either had records I already had or none at all. So it sort of kind of felt a little bit like some genres and some artists, Swedish ones, were fairly picked clean. So what I did was I went for the Pavement section. As you haven't seen those videos yet, because they haven't come out yet, but I have actually managed to get my Pavement studio album collection complete, and I also bought a Stephen Malkmus vinyl record, but there was one missing that I felt I needed to have in this collection, which is stickers from the heavy metal store there, Sound Pollution, which is Vesting by Musket and Sextant, and it's sort of a compilation of EPs from was it the early years of Pavement. They did release they actually released an EP at the very end after their final studio album too, so I have to see if I can get some of that. So let's get rid of some of this. Been on very much of a Pavement kick lately, and there is the inner as well, and the vinyl. It is so hot here in Oslo. Yesterday and the 2 or 3 days before, it's been 33 degrees, and probably hotter at places where they don't really record how hot it is. But yesterday, and I think maybe I'll include that in this video, a little bit from my trip back and what I did yesterday and so on. A friend of mine suggested that we should go to the brand new Oslo Hard Rock Cafe. We had a Hard Rock Cafe in Oslo, but it closed during COVID. Mostly because, like so many others, they suffered from the landlord upping the rent the moment the all clear was sent out there. So this was the other record that I bought at Bengans, and that is of course the Stereophonics debut album. I love the Stereophonics, and I've collected their CDs ever since they started, and now I've slowly started to get their records on vinyl as well, in part because I came across a seller on the Norwegian eBay, Finn, who sold 3 almost entirely brand new copies of not the the second youngest and so on, 3 albums that came out back to back in the 2010s and early 2020s, I think it was, or up to 2019. Yeah, I got all those 3 in a really good deal, and then now I've sort of decided I should buy more Stereophonics on vinyl, because I love this band a lot, and in a way, them being from Wales is a little bit beside the point, because I guess they don't have a huge Welsh profile or anything, but it doesn't work against them. Oh, okay. There's your just ordinary inner sleeve there. Nice black vinyl. This is a cracking, banging album. But the one that I want the most right now is, of course, their second album. Was it just that is just a wonderful album. So there you are. So then the first full day, I went all in and was a total tourist. I went to museums. I went to the Swedish Jewish Museum and one or two other smaller things there in Gamla Stan. So I was a real tourist there. And in Gamla Stan, they do have some record shops and comic book stores as well. But I got myself to the Sound Pollution, and this was also the same day that I went to the heavy metal exhibition at Kulturhuset. So I was a very culturally prolific person on the first full day. And I went to Sound Pollution, and again I asked for heavy metal records that I want to add to my collection. They had the debut album of Domcraft, and I'm regretting that I didn't buy that, because I really enjoyed the one I bought in Gothenburg. But not finding the stuff that I kind of really wanted, like the Dark Tranquility and other stuff like that. And I mean, even some Megadeth would have been cool. I told them, could you recommend something for me? And it needs to be Swedish and heavy metal. Well, of course, because I'm at Sound Pollution. Mind you, they did sell records by The Cure and so on in there. So, and yeah, he did, and hopefully this is something I'll like. So this is Wormwood with Arkivet. So let's open this one up. So, of course, I haven't heard any of this at all. And he said, well, you're opening it now. Yeah, well, I haven't gone online and listened to it either. So there you are. And There's the hype sticker. This was a Record Store Day Black Friday release, I think in 2023. No. 2021. Oh, okay. These are the sickening memories of a home we took for granted. Included 3 bonus songs. Includes a novel for the archive written by Swedish author Mikael Strömberg, both in Swedish and English. So, limited to 500 copies. And the asking price was 329, but I remember that he knocked it down to 269 for me. So that was hopefully a nice thing to do, and not something he did in order to get rid of a record he would normally not be able to sell. Oh, Morten being all distrusting again. So yeah, my copy is 416 out of 500 for those who are interested in that. And this seems to be just like Big Dipper in Oslo. This looks, Sound Pollution seems to be involved in getting records released, because it also has the Sound Pollution record distribution, I think the company is called, with the Black Lodger Records, it says here. This is heavy, by the way. Well, it's heavy metal. Oh, never mind. Here we are. The 5 inner city Swedish boys left out in the wilderness, and well, not so well, as they do have electricity poles there in the background. Oh well. Right, so ska vi åka hem snart eller? Jag är kall. Kalle, jag har våta fötter. Ja, men stå stilla nu då. Vi ska bara ta ett par kort till. So, okay. Right, so one part here apparently is English, and this part here is Swedish. And I can honestly say that I'm fairly confident that I will never read this. Here we are. Unless the music compels me to. Yeah, I already showed up. Here we are. This is going to be such a long video. Clear, milky-ish vinyl. And there seems to be bonus songs on these sides here. Is there anything left to show? Nope. Then the next day I went down to Södermalm, to Söder, and after having some coffee in the center of the city, because Espresso House really dominates things in Sweden, and so does it does as well in Norway now. But I wanted my peppermint latte, so I went and found one of the few Starbucks there, and then after that I went down to Södermalm, and I got off at Medborgarplatsen, walked to Katarina Långgatan, and where on an adjacent street you have the wonderful Pet Sounds, which was, I guess, that was the goal of my record shopping trip to Stockholm, if you like, because I love Pet Sounds. It's a great shop, and I have been going there for many years now. Whenever I'm in Stockholm, even when I was more into craft beer than buying records and vinyl, I went there. I went there even when I didn't have a record player, and just to look and feel like I was in an old record shop. And that's where I met our friend from from the vinyl community, and he showed me some stuff in there, and I guess I got the record I was hoping the most for to find, and that's. Well, I'll show the other two first, actually. So this one was the one that I asked Bengans if they could get for me. I never heard back from them, so I got this one by Laleh, which is a Swedish artist who's been, well, she has been, yeah, she's been active for quite a while now, hasn't she? Time flies. Yeah, it says here, Laleh celebrating Laleh 2025, 20 years som artist, 20 år som artist. So celebrating that. So me and Simon. Now I don't know anything about this record. I haven't heard any of the songs apart from one that I've had on my playlist for a long time that I heard in a Swedish TV program, which is Björoklubb. So I know she has a couple of songs that are better known, bigger hits. Some Die Young, but that's a different record, which I'm not even sure is currently in print. But yeah, so yeah, I'm quite happy to have this. I hope I like the rest. There she is. Jag var ute på Björoklubb och jag tittade på stranden och vågorna krålade och jag vaddade in i natten. Oh ja, jag var vinnare runt vattnet. Oh ja, jag var en vinnare. Oh, I love that song. It was featured in a TV show that goes on Swedish television still, called Arvinge Okänd, which translates to air, unknown, finding people who might benefit from the death of family members they didn't know they had, basically. So there you are. And then I bought another, so only Swedish records from Pet Sounds, and I bought a record, the second studio album from another favorite of mine, Håkan Hellström. He's like a Gothenburg institution, if you like, and he's very popular here in Norway as well. So there he is. So yeah, he had a massive hit with his first studio album, and maybe dozed off a little bit with the second and third. The fourth album is the one I also really want on vinyl, because it's an amazing album. So fairly no frills release here. I think these are very recent reissues they're going through now, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's not important, I guess. I think actually I was completely wrong on that claim. Anyway, so that was Håkan Hellström, and now the biggest find for me maybe on this trip it isn't a reissue, but it's a reissue from back in 2019. So these are getting scarce again now, and it's the Cardigans with Life, the wonderful Cardigans with Nina Persson. And I did show this record to some extent last time when I got it, because it had already been opened. Here we are. I love this record. This is pure pop, chamber pop, jangly pop. This is pure pop genius. This record, and I remember I got my first Cardigans, I think it was in '96, and this came out in '95. And I think the reason was that I probably heard their big hit when I watched the Romeo and Juliet film by Baz Luhrmann. And I bought 1 or 2 records while I was visiting in Oslo before I went to the film college and stuff like that. Something like that. So after that, he took me to an Ideal Living, I think it was, a small hole-in-the-wall shop, which was sort of equal parts antiques and stuff and records, and I saw some really amazing stuff there. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, they cost an arm and a leg, and I didn't buy anything there. So on the way back, just around the corner from where I stayed, there is another comics, vinyls, and so on used second-hand shop, which I very rarely been inside. It tends to be closed when I want to go there because they're only open on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And I found these two. Sweating Bullets by Simple Minds, 12-inch there. And it's funny, I can't remember having seen this record or known anything about this single. And after I found it, I saw it everywhere. So yeah, well, nothing much to show inside there. And then I also picked up this compilation, Celebration, which I was very happy to get. I had this on my Simple Minds wish list for a while. So yeah, happy to get that. Day after, that was Saturday, I went up northwest of where I was staying and had some breakfast at a coffee place while I waited for Nostalgipalatset to open. And Nostalgipalatset, wow, what a place. So much stuff. I could have got... I think I left there when I bought what I had bought because I was worried I'd find more, to be honest. So let's have a look at what I found there. This was a bit of a grail for me. Charlatans, their debut album, Some Friendly. This is a Swedish pressing from back in the day. I've been a little bit of two minds about it because I would have loved to have the latest pressing of this, because I know now that a lot of the other Charlatans records I've been getting lately have been reissues, but I couldn't pass this over. And I mean, I've seen some sellers on the Norwegian eBay wanting 400 or 500 kroner for this. I paid 250 Swedish, which is currently about 270 Norwegian, so very happy about that. And a little bit of Australia there for you as well, with the Go-Betweens, of course. Very happy to get a vinyl record by them. And this was the most expensive one I bought at Nostalgipalatset. 350 I had to shell out for this. And then there was Completion Time. It was Completion Time. Doc, I found the last record by the Triffids. Marty, put it back. You don't know where it's been. Yeah, so this is the Triffids present a Woolshed recording in the Pines. So that makes my Triffids record collection complete. One that I can sort of proudly say that only contains second-hand records, and this is a Swedish pressing. And the final record I bought over at Nostalgipalatset. Wasn't planned or anything. I didn't look specifically for this. So this is My Morning Jacket with Waterfall 2. It's sorry, Waterfall 1, because I already have Waterfall 2, and I made an effort to make sure that I didn't get the wrong one. And I think 250 kroner for this one, that's a pretty good deal. So it's starting to have a fairly good sizable amount of my morning jacket albums now, even a couple of record store day ones. Then it was Sunday and I did some sightseeing again. I didn't really do any sightseeing on Saturday, and I ended up traveling to the westernmost point of Södermalm, the island there in the middle of Stockholm, where I went to Mickes, and I had never been there. I sort of heard it mentioned a couple of times. Very down-to-earth second-hand record store, and they had a lot of cool stuff there. Picked up some singles for the first time. I had been looking for singles on my trip, but not really found anything. So I got another version of Aha's Take On Me, because I like the cover. The one that I have looks much more, let's say, 80s. And I found an Echo and the Bunnymen. So this was, what was this one again? The Back of Love, yeah. And I got this Echo and the Bunnymen, Never Stop. Not, yeah, I was a little bit of two minds about it, because this is a Scandinavian pressing, and I don't really like the back of it, but yeah, there you are. And then I got myself another one from my Style Council collection, which is really starting to come together there. And finally, I had to pick up this one, 10cc. Yeah. So that was my singles. And then I also found another one I've been looking for a long time, and one that I didn't buy back in the day because the guy in the record shop made me aware of the fact that this Echo and the Bunnymen was not Echo and the Bunnymen with Ian McCulloch. So I got a Reverberation. So Ian having, of course, left the band and made a wonderful solo album. He was replaced by Noel Burke, and that was, well, pretty much a complete total failure, because no one bought this record at all, and they were dropped by Warner Brothers. Did release a couple more singles, self-released, and then Echo and the Bunnymen were no more until Will and Ian got back together and patched things up together with Les Pattison, wasn't it? Yeah, they made another Echo and the Bunnymen album, and they've been playing since. Well, Les left, of course. You guys know all this, but I'm really stoked to have this. I'm looking forward to listening to this Echo and the Bunnymen music for the first time in my life, because I never heard any of it. And the final record that I found at Mickes is a record I once had. It, along with quite a few of my heavy metal records, got stolen over the years down in Denmark. I think maybe when my house was burgled. But this is Ozzy Osbourne with Speak of the Devil. And this was the live album that he recorded after his first two studio albums. With only Black Sabbath songs, and this was a rights issue. And I know Black Sabbath did the same thing with Live Evil. A lot of conflict going on there, and of course the band didn't want to record Black Sabbath songs. And of course the guitarist Rhodes, he died and all that, and then it was finally done after all. And this is one that I've almost bought several times over the years, and I think 400 kroner for this copy in this state is a really nice price, because I've held records that looked 50% worse than this in my hand here in Oslo, and they wanted 700 for it. So yeah, Day after, again mostly sightseeing, but I did go back to sound pollution because the music that they constantly play, it says nothing to me about my life. No, there's a record they played over the sound system then when I was there, and I really liked what I heard, so I made a note of it, and then when I went back there, I asked if they did have that, and yes, of course they did. So I bought this from Blackbraid, Native American guy who records black metal. This is Blackbraid 1, and he's released 2 more albums called 2 and 3. Well, so there you are. And there's the Witch Hawk, as he calls himself in his native tongue, which is Gachsovach, or something like that. And the vinyl is black, but I like the label. And then we got to the last full day I was there. I didn't have that much time. I tried to go out a bit early and do a little, again, a little sightseeing. I went to the Viking Museum. No, I didn't. That was the day before. Yeah. No, yeah, I went because I wanted to see Slussen and the northern part of Söder, because I wanted to go to Mosebacke. There's this beer garden there, which, you know, I thought I would. No, I don't want to go there because I don't drink beers anymore. But then I thought, no, I'll go there and I'll have a Coke Zero, and I did. And I saw the view, and it was a little bit of rain, and that was actually nice after it being quite warm. Not as warm as Oslo. And I went to look for a record store, but it was closed because it was Tuesday. This place is open Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. But across from there is a store that I had completely forgotten I'd been to before, called, was it? Yeah, I can't remember now. Jazz and something or other. And great store, very Afrocentric, very jazz-focused. But I did have other music as well, so I thought it was kind of a pride of joy to leave that kind of a store with an Australian punk album. So there's Lime Spiders that I bought there, Swedish pressing, by the way. And then I went and had my Coke and a ginger drink of some sort. And then I walked down to, now I can't remember the name of the store. Sorry. I just had it in my mind before I started. You must remember to... never mind. Great store. Saw some pretty cool stuff. A lot of things I asked for they didn't have. Got a little bit of a feeling it might have been picked fairly clean by all the summer tourists. But I didn't want to go empty-handed there. And then suddenly I saw this one. And 250 kroner for this, although it's a little destroyed here at the top. This is Mars Walta. A band I love as well, so with Octahedron. By the way, on Saturday here in Oslo, I bought their brand new album, which had been reduced in price on vinyl. And this is a band that I have all their studio albums and a couple of EPs on CD. So this was only my second vinyl. So now I have their their last album on vinyl and not CD. I guess if that is really annoying me now. I should show you a little bit. Sorry. I love the artwork on this one, and the vinyl. Lyrics in the gatefold, and more. Of the artwork there. And vinyl. So that was my fairly massive vinyl Stockholm haul. I hope you enjoyed my previous videos, and yeah, I did say in my videos I was going to do a wrap up video, so I guess this was it. Anyway, guys, please click like, that helps my channel. If you want to subscribe, please, that makes me happy. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Nice to have you on board. I love comments, you know, suggestions about the music or getting other types of music, because, you know, God knows I surely need to buy more records, don't I? So yeah, that was that. Now let's see if I can get out into a very warm Oslo and do something. I don't know what. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.